Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Hi, folks. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. I found this clip from Bill Maher. It's interesting. It's about blacks being killed by guns. And, of course, the take is the police are just roaming the roads and the streets and the highways and the avenues and alleys and everywhere looking for blacks to shoot. And there's people that believe that, millions of them. But the fact of the matter is, the deaths caused by guns to black people are black-on-black crime for the most part, and usually gang-related or something similar in criminal activity. Period. It dwarfs the number of black people killed by police. I forgot the number offhand. It's like 50, 60, 70 to 1. It might even be more. I'm trying to do this from memory. But we always harp about the fact that if a black person gets shot by a cop, many times it's wrong and it's evil. And it's about the 5 black police officers. Remember they beat up that guy a few months ago? Just beating him with pulp, and we all saw the video. But the fact of the matter is, they switched the game. Well, those 5 black police officers are just showing traits of white supremacy. And it gets crazy like that. Let's listen to some facts. And Bill, I got to ask you a question. There's a bazillion to 1 chance you'll see this video, anybody that knows you. All the criticisms you've had of liberals lately and progressives especially, why do you keep voting Democrat? It'd be an interesting question to ask. I'd like to get a straight answer.
Like Chicago, like most of the shootings are young black men killing other young black men. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Much more than what the cops do. Why doesn't anybody talk about that? Well, I mean,
that's a good question because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit the politics. You know, Bill, why? You know. Yeah, granted, you're a little bit cloistered, you're rich, and you probably travel in a bubble and only talk to certain people, and you don't see what happens in the real world. Unless you're doing a rhetorical question. But I really believe he is asking a legitimate question, and he's surprised. Why aren't more people bringing that up? And that's where the naivete comes in.
why aren't there, 100 giant black celebrities who would have the respect of those people saying, what are you doing to yourselves? Why are you killing each other?
Now, you notice that very small percent of the audience clapped. The reason why most black celebrities, sports figures, business people, politicians won't talk about it is because the woke progressive left will crucify them. They will make their life a living hell, destroy their career, destroy their livelihood. It's intimidation by fear. That's why, Bill, they won't speak out. Now, there's a few that have, and they pay the price. That's why.
This dishonors our community. Come on. We're better than this.
Right. I feel like it's never addressed.
And what I would want to observe is that any structural move that you want to make requires a majority of the people to get behind it. Requires democratic politics to get behind it. And in order to get a majority of the voters in Chicago or any place else to get behind anything that's going to cost them money, they have to feel safe. They have to feel that the people who are in charge are on their side. And that's why Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson needs to come and give speeches in which he says this is contemptible behavior. We won't tolerate it in our city. The reason we have cops is precisely in order to stop this from happening. And if you do it on my watch, you're going to go to jail.
But what did what did the mayor-elect do? They got rid of Lori Lightfoot because she was a loony. And crime was exponentially going up. So they got rid of her. And what they vote for? Somebody that's actually progressively worse. And I mean worse as in more progressive. He basically said because of racism and segregation, these kids are out there rioting. He actually said he hasn't got sworn in yet, and he already screwed up. They keep voting for these people. Now, here's the other thing. Even if you get a mayor that says what this gentleman just said, say the new mayor of Chicago said that, does he have control over the district attorney's office? These district attorneys now are letting people out, some with no bail on murder charges, manslaughter charges, no bail. Is it common for murder charges and manslaughter? No. But all the assaults, all the robberies, all these sexual assaults, vast majority now are no bail. Now, there is a presumption of innocence, but you've got to look at the person's record. If they're a Eagle Scout and they've never even got a jaywalking ticket, yeah, maybe. But somebody that's got 5, 10, 15 arrests, 4, 5, 6 convictions, you're going to let them walk away with no bail on an assault charge that beat somebody to a pulp? They're not calling out each other because they're afraid of the progressive mob. It's that simple.
He needs to say that in order to get the white taxpayers in the city not to move out of the city and to get behind whatever structural program a clever man like Danny comes up with.
But, I mean, okay, so I also read this week in the paper, one in 3 children in America cannot read at a basic level of comprehension. 85% of black students lack proficiency in reading skills. We already spend a lot of money on schools. So you're going to keep telling me more money will fix this? Because I feel like this is much more connected to the problems of...
Exactly right, Bill. And it's been going like that for decades. Where have you been? Now, we'll say, well, John, give the man credit. He's starting to come around. Better late than never. You know, any of those expressions. No, it gets to a point where I think at the beginning, a lot of government programs and throwing money at schools and other things, I think their heart was in the right place. I'll give them that benefit of the doubt. But as time has gone on in the last 50 years, I'm 66. This was going on when I was young and has now come to a peak. 85% of black children are basically literate. It's insane. It's insane. Prolific at reading. Would they say it was 1/3, or basically, for lack of a better term, functionally illiterate? What about the teachers' unions? They pull in billions. These teachers pull in billions. It used to be in the old days, they formed municipal unions and teachers' unions because they were paid a lot less in the private sector, and they needed more protection. Okay. Now they're making the same. They're making more than people in the private sector doing the same job, plus the bennies, plus the early retirement, and plus the union protection. You know, there's teachers in New York City, I forget which borough, where every morning they come in and about 30, 35 of them sit in a room. And all they do all day is read, listen to music, watch movies and TV shows on their phone and their iPads. And then at the end of the day, they're dismissed and they're paid a full teacher salary. Why? Because they did such horrendous things in the classroom that they were removed from the classroom. But the union protects them from getting fired. So rather than go through 30 to 35 lawsuits, which probably cost about $5 million each in legal fees, they just let them sit there all day and do nothing. And they get their pensions too on top of it, and their health insurance, and their time off. It's amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. This is the reality that, Bill, that you have no idea what's going on. You know, it gets to a point where I think it's evil, and I'll tell you what I mean. I think they see what's going on with these children in the big cities, the inner cities, especially the non-white children and the poor white children. And they like it like that. They have to, because the alternative is worse. That they are so incompetent and so stupid that they don't realize. Of course they realize. They don't care. They don't care.
People who can't read, yes, they're going to have problems with gainful employment. And it seems like, you know, a lot of times the solutions that come from the left seem symbolic.
That's right. They are symbolic. They want people dependent. They want people dependent so they vote their way and keep them in power and authority, whether it be at the city level, the county, state, and especially the state and federal levels. They want those people needy. They want them to need government programs and never solve any of the problems. It's kind of like you don't want anybody to, you're in the rehab business, and rehab is very expensive. And we want to help people get off of drugs and alcohol and become clean. Our job should be to do that. But I wonder sometimes, the more people that get clean, the less clients they have. Same with welfare workers. Their job should be everything in their power to see if these people don't qualify for the welfare programs anymore because they're doing better. But they don't, because they'll be out of work. Their clients will be gone. Can you imagine if a doctor was like that? I'm not going to cure my patients because I'll run out of patients. It's insane. Let's listen to the end.
They don't seem like we're actually addressing what really needs to be done, is get kids learning, get them reading, get them able to have a job. I don't know how.
That's exactly right. People have been saying that since the 60s and 70s. It's nothing new. Go back to the 1940s and the 1950s. We'll even say in the Deep South and the South with the Jim Crow laws. Even with the dilapidated schools in the horrible conditions of the black schools, and the white schools were very nice. It wasn't separate but equal. Even back then, almost 80% of all black families, people with children, were married. And the father of the children was married to the mother and lived in the home. The reading proficiency was triple what it is today, even under the oppressive Jim Crow laws. Something happened, and what that happened was progressive Democrats that tried to do the right thing and then found out later we need to keep these people down in order to get their votes and their support to keep us in authority and keep us in power. That's what's happened, Bill. And people have been trying to expose it for decades with very little success. And I don't see an end in sight, frankly. Of course, school choice is one of the big steps. And of course, the teachers' unions are fighting that like crazy. Why? Because they know. Because they know. Homeschooling is through the roof now. It's quadrupled in the last 10 years. And it's getting more and more popular. Pod homeschooling, where one mother will teach 4 or 5 kids in the neighborhood. That's legal to do. And that's becoming more and more common. People are waking up. But is it too little, too late? Who's to say? We can always hope and do the best we can. But Bill, to answer your question, why is nobody talking about it? Because it doesn't serve a political and social interest. You have to be a victim and you have to be oppressed in order for us to help you, in order for it to fit our political agenda. It's really that simple. And frankly, it's evil. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.